A grandfather was having dinner with his son and grandson when the grandson asked, "Grandfather, what is the most important lesson about life?" The grandfather smiled and replied, "My dear, broadly speaking, there are three things every human being needs: time, money, and health. When you are young, like you have plenty of time and good health, but no money. When you are in your 40s, like your father, you begin earning good money, hopefully, but time becomes scarce and health may start to decline. In fact, in today's world, many people develop at least one medical issue by their 40s. And when you reach your 60s and 70s, you may have time and financial stability, but often your health is no longer what it used to be. So he paused for a moment and then said, "The lesson is simple. As you grow, work hard and earn money, but never forget to give time to yourself first and the people that you love. And above all, never neglect your health, because without health, nothing else truly matters." Now, before we begin, quick announcement. I help people become 5 and 6 figure holistic nutrition and wellness coaches. And to help you get started, I'm giving away a free 7-part nutrition career course. If you want access, comment holistic below and I'll share the details. Right, circling back to the topic, to maintain balance between money, health, and time, we need a structured way to evaluate our lives, and that is where the wheel of life and the scaling method comes in. The wheel of life divides life into 5 major categories: work, health, relationships, spirituality, and hobbies, and personal growth. They're basically one category. Now, each of these areas represent a spoke of the wheel, and if even one spoke is weak, the wheel cannot move smoothly. And now comes the most important part. You must be brutally honest with yourself and rate yourself from 1 to 10 in each of these 5 categories. Let me share a personal example to explain the scaling method. At the age of 40, I bought my first motorcycle, a powerful 3-cylinder British adventure sport machine. And within 6 months, I moved from a complete beginner at 1 out of 10 to a confident 6 out of 10. How did this happen when I've never ever ridden a motorcycle before? It all came down to my why. A few months before buying the bike, I had injured myself and could not work out at all, so I needed a strong alternative that would give me excitement and purpose. Motorcycling challenged me, pushed me outside my comfort zone, and allowed me to spend time in nature and explore remote parts of India I had only seen in documentaries. Because of this strong why, I was willing to invest not only in the bike but also in high quality riding gears. And within 6 months, I completed one of the most demanding Himalayan routes, which is the Spiti circuit. And since I have clocked over 20,000 kilometers and completed 11 adventure circuits across India. Now, here's something important. I have no intention going beyond a 7 out of 10 in motorcycling, because for me, it is just a hobby and it enriches my life and brings me joy, but it is not my profession or primary purpose. And this highlights a powerful principle within the scaling method. The moment you decide to move beyond a 7 in any skill, you are choosing to take it seriously. You are committing significant time, shifting from casual enjoyment to disciplined practice, and aligning passion with purpose and eventually with profit. Now, beyond 7, the skill is no longer just something you like. It becomes something you intentionally cultivate, and that decision changes everything. Now let's apply this to health and coaching. If you want your health to be an 8 out of 10 or higher, as a holistic coach, you must embody your teachings and walk your talk. When you operate at an 8, physically, mentally, and energetically, it builds credibility, instills confidence, and creates trust. Reaching a 9 out of 10 does not happen quickly. It is the result of decades of deliberate practice applied to a passion or skill. At that level, there is this intense thirst to excel, constantly push beyond comfort zones and attention to detail most people overlook. This level is not for everyone because it demands extraordinary commitment, sacrifice, and focus. And at this stage, the skill becomes part of your identity and begins to shape your routines, decisions, and life. A 9 plus rating represents true mastery, but it comes at a cost and is a path only a few are willing or able to walk. So, as a general rule, moving from 0 to 6 is achievable within 6 months if you're curious, enthusiastic, and consistent. Moving from 6 to 7 often requires years of refinement. Going beyond 7 means the skill becomes part of your daily life, and going beyond 8 means it becomes your vocation and you intentionally strive for excellence. Here's something crucial. Only when you are an 8 or 9 in a skill can you truly make a strong living from it. In today's world where everyone is a content creator and competition is intense, standing out is difficult. But when you are genuinely 8 out of 10 or higher at what you do, people take notice. They trust you, and that trust leads to commitment, impact, and income. So excellence is really the ultimate marketing strategy. Now that we understand the wheel of life and the scaling method, remember this one crucial principle. In any given phase of life, which may last from a few months to a few years, you can realistically prioritize only one or at the most 2 categories at a given point of time while maintaining the others. And this is where maturity and strategic thinking comes in. If your health is at a 4 out of 10, but your work and finances are at 7, the rational choice is to temporarily reduce your work intensity and prioritize health until it reaches at least a 6. Most people do not do this because probably ambition, ego, or greed pushes them to keep chasing the next milestone. But if your health declines, performance eventually declines too. The body always collects its dues. So if someone's work is at 8 but health and relationships are below 5, then the next few months they should be focused on raising health and relationship to at least a 6 or a 7. So basically a 6 is a critical cutoff point because it represents stability and a functional foundation. From there, one can aim to move from 6 to 8 over the next 6 to 12 months with structured planning, reduced stress, improved sleep, consistent workouts, and time invested in relationships. On the other hand, if health is already at 7 but work is at 3, there is no need to obsess over workouts or diet perfection. Instead, health should be maintained while energy is directed towards improving career or business, because without financial stability, stress will rise and eventually damage health anyway. The key insight is that neglect in one category eventually spills into the others. So here's a simple action plan. First is to rate yourself honestly in all 5 categories. Second is to identify the 1 or 2 areas that are 5 or below. Then it's to prioritize improving those areas and maintain the remaining categories so that you do not lose ground. There is no wisdom in raising one category from 6 to 8 if another fails from 7 to 3 in the process. Folks, life is a balancing act, and while very few people manage to have robust health, strong relationships, a thriving career, and enough time for hobbies all at once, but with awareness and strategic prioritization and honest self-assessment, you can move closer to that balance one phase at a time. Again, if you want access to my free 7-part nutrition career course, comment holistic below and I will send you the details. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Akash. Namaste.